So you've got the crinkle of the packet and the smell of the packet, and the smell of it. What is the smell and the desire to want to eat it out of 10 right now?
10.
Okay, so pop it here, and just thinking about looking at that now. So that 10 out of 10 desire to eat that, where are you feeling it in your body?
Almost everywhere, like a physical compulsion to reach out and grab it and shove it in my mouth.
Okay, even though I've got this physical compulsion.
Even though I've got this physical compulsion.
To reach out and grab the chocolate and
to
put it in
reach
my
out
mouth.
and grab the chocolate and put it in my mouth.
And it's really hard to just have it sitting beside me.
It's hard to have it sitting beside me.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And this compulsion.
And this compulsion.
And I ask my body where it comes from.
And I ask my body where it comes from.
So I can release it and let it go.
So I can release it and let it go.
Even though I've got this 10 out of 10 compulsion.
Even though I've got this 10 out of 10 compulsion.
My whole body wants this chocolate.
My whole body wants this chocolate.
I just want to reach down and shove it in my mouth.
I just want to reach down and shove it in my mouth.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
I wasn't born with this.
I wasn't born with this.
I want to know where it came from.
I want to know where it came from.
Even though I've got this 10 out of 10 compulsion.
Even though I've got this 10 out of 10 compulsion.
Look at the chocolate. I just want to pick it up and shove it in my mouth.
I just want to pick it up and shove it in my mouth. I can feel it in my mouth now.
I can feel it in my mouth.
Yeah.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And all my body's responses.
And all my body's responses.
And I ask my body where it comes from.
And I ask my body where it comes from.
Where I learned this from.
Where I learned this from.
So I can release it and let it go.
So that I can release it and let it go.
This compulsion is what I want to release.
This compulsion is what I want to release.
It's not so bad to eat chocolate every now and then.
It's not so bad to eat chocolate every now and then.
But it's this compulsion that's overtaking me.
It's the compulsion that overtakes me.
And I wonder where it comes from.
And I wonder where it comes from.
When was the first time I felt this feeling in my mouth?
When was the first time I felt this feeling in my mouth?
In my whole body.
In my whole body.
To want to shove that chocolate in my mouth.
To want to shove that chocolate in my mouth.
I wonder when I first felt it.
I wonder when I first felt it.
I wasn't born wanting chocolate.
I wasn't born wanting chocolate.
I wonder how old I was when I first learned about chocolate.
I wonder how old I was when I first learned about chocolate.
And I had the compulsion to shove it in my mouth.
And I had the compulsion to shove it in my mouth.
This 10 out of 10 compulsion.
This 10 out of 10 compulsion.
I just want to shove it in my mouth.
I just want to shove it in my mouth.
I can feel it in my mouth.
I can feel it in my mouth.
I want to know where it comes from.
I want to know where it comes from.
So I can address it.
So I can address it.
So it doesn't have a compulsion over me.
So it doesn't have a compulsion over me.
And I have control over it.
And I have control over it.
The first time I felt this compulsion to shove it in my mouth.
The first time I had this compulsion to shove it in my mouth.
Okay, so when you look at it now, what does it remind you of? How old do you think you were when you first had that compulsion to shove chocolate in your mouth?
I'm just seeing a little girl. The number 5 comes to mind, but it always does when I do inner child work. So, yeah,
okay.
Little girl.
So even though I can imagine me at 5, just wanting to shove the chocolate in my mouth,
just wanting to shove the chocolate in my mouth,
having this compulsion to shove it in my mouth,
having this compulsion to have it in my mouth,
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And this 5-year-old impulse.
And this 5-year-old impulse.
And I ask my body to process and release it.
And I ask my body to process and release it.
Even though I can see myself as a 5-year-old.
Even though I can see myself as a 5-year-old.
Wanting to shove that chocolate in my mouth.
Wanting to shove that chocolate in my mouth.
Having a compulsion to have the chocolate.
Having a compulsion to have the chocolate.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And this 5-year-old impulse.
And this 5-year-old impulse.
And I want to release it and let it go.
I want to release it and let it go.
This 5-year-old impulse.
This 5-year-old impulse.
To just shove it in my mouth.
To just shove it in my mouth.
This 5-year-old impulse.
This 5-year-old impulse.
It's still present in my body now.
It's still present in my body now.
This instant gratification of a 5-year-old.
This instant gratification of a 5-year-old.
I still have it present in my body now.
I still have it present in my body now.
In my mouth.
In my mouth.
My mouth wants to have it now.
My mouth wants to have it now.
This 10 out of 10 compulsion.
This 10 out of 10 compulsion.
This 5-year-old compulsion.
This 5-year-old compulsion.
I want to release it and let it go.
I want to release it and let it go.
So I have control over it.
So I have control over it.
I don't have control over it.
I don't have control over it.
The 5-year-old's impulse to shove it in her mouth.
The 5-year-old's impulse to shove it in her mouth.
I've still got that in me now.
I've still got that in me now.
I wonder why I had that 5-year-old impulse.
I wonder why I had that 5-year-old impulse.
To shove it in my mouth.
To shove it in my mouth.
I wonder how I learnt it.
I wonder how I learnt it.
I wonder where I learnt it.
I wonder where I learnt it.
I wonder who I saw it from.
I wonder who I saw it from.
Okay, so what's coming up when you think about and imagine that 5-year-old just wanting to grab chocolate and shove it in the mouth?
Well, I just sort of see my dad arriving home full of enthusiasm and joy with a slab of chocolate in his hand going, I've got chocolate.
Even though I can see my dad.
Even though I can see my dad.
And this joyous memory.
And this joyous memory.
Him walking through the door joyfully.
Him walking through the door joyfully.
Saying, I've got chocolate.
Saying, I've got chocolate.
And I remember it now.
And I remember it now.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And these joyous memories.
And these joyous memories.
Most of my memories with my dad weren't joyous.
Most of my memories with my dad weren't joyous.
No wonder I like to have chocolate.
No wonder I like to have chocolate.
This 5-year-old desire.
This 5-year-old desire.
To have a joyous feeling.
A joyous feeling.
Chocolate was part of it.
Chocolate was part of it.
That joyous feeling with Dad.
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 Seeing him coming through the door.
Seeing him coming through the door.
Saying, I've got chocolate.
Saying, I've got chocolate.
Hearing the joy in his
Hearing the joy
voice.
in his voice.
The tone of his voice.
Face.
And his face. Seeing the chocolate.
Seeing the chocolate.
And the impulse to just shove it in my mouth.
Impulse to just shove it in my mouth.
What I really wanted to do was shove all the joy into my body.
What I wanted to do was shove the joy into my body.
That joyous experience.
That joyous experience.
The joy on his face.
The joy on his face.
Instead of those angry moments.
Instead of those angry moments.
Those alcoholic moments.
The alcoholic moments.
No wonder I want to feel the joy.
And no wonder I want to feel the joy.
And I've got that associated with chocolate.
And I've got that associated with chocolate.
And every time I want to feel joyous.
And every time I want to feel joyous.
I want to shove chocolate in my mouth.
I want to shove chocolate in my mouth.
I accept myself and what I learned.
I accept myself and what I've learned.
All the way back when I was 5.
All the way back when I was 5.
I just wanted joyous moments.
I just wanted joyous moments.
The joyous look on his face.
The joyous look on his face.
The tone of his voice.
The tone of his voice.
I just wanted to shove it in me.
I just wanted to shove it in me.
And I learned to associate that with chocolate.
And I learned to associate that with chocolate.
No wonder I want to just shove it in my mouth.
No wonder I just want to shove it in my mouth.
It was really the joy I wanted to shove into my body.
It was really the joy I wanted to shove in my body.
And remember.
And remember and have more of.
And have more of. No wonder I want to have more of it.
No wonder I want to have more of it.
No wonder I want to eat it all till it's all gone.
No wonder I want to eat it all till it's all gone.
I just wanted more of that joy.
I just wanted more of that joy.
I wanted all of that joy.
I wanted all of that joy.
But it's not really in the chocolate.
But it's not really in the chocolate.
The chocolate was just an innocent bystander.
Chocolate was an innocent bystander.
Just happened to be there when he was in a joyous mood.
It happened to be there when he was in a joyous mood. What triggered his joyous mood?
And his trigger
And his trigger
became my trigger.
became my trigger.
But it doesn't serve me anymore.
But it doesn't serve me anymore.
I can still eat chocolate.
I can still eat chocolate.
But it doesn't have to mean that it's joy.
That doesn't have to mean that it's joy.
I don't have to shove it into me.
I don't have to shove it into me.
As if I'm shoving joy into me.
As if I'm shoving joy into you.
It's just fat and sugar.
It's just fat and sugar.
What I was really craving was joy.
What I was really craving was joy.
And I can bring that joy into me whenever I want.
And I can bring that joy into me whenever I want.
Those joyous memories when he came
Those
home.
memories when he came home.
With a joyous look on his
With
face.
a joyous look on his face.
He could have been bringing home vegetables.
He could have been bringing up vegetables.
And saying, look, I've got vegetables.
Saying, look, I've got vegetables.
And I would have been craving vegetables.
Anyway, I would have been craving vegetables. That was the potential.
But it happened to be a chocolate.
To be chocolate.
And so I've been craving joy through chocolate.
Yeah, so I crave joy through chocolate.
But it's not really in the chocolate.
That's not really in the chocolate.
That was just there when he was there.
That was just there when he was there.
In a joyous mood.
In a joyous mood.
So have a look at the chocolate. What is it out of 10 now?
5 out of 10.
So pick it up and smell it.
It does look a bit more like a lump of fat now.
It's like a little piece of something else.
No, it doesn't. If I was at 1.
Does it smell different?
No, it still smells really nice.
Okay. So is it still 5?
It's still 5, and 2 things come to mind. One is I think that it was the connection and the being with him and the fun of having a fun time with him, whereas the rest of the time he would be lying on his bed reading a book. So that was the time when he was present and sharing and engaged. And then of course I just remembered that he used to work at Beacon. So when I was little, he worked at a chocolate lolly factory as a sales guy. So there was, there was chocolate and things that he brought home with him when he was working.
Okay. So even though I've still got this 5 out of 10 desire,
Even though I've got this 5 out of 10 desire
to shove that chocolate in me,
to shove that chocolate in me,
I accept myself
I accept myself
and all the memories that it brings.
and all the memories that it brings.
Even though I've got this 5 out of 10 desire
Even though I've got this 5 out of 10 desire
to eat this chocolate,
to eat this chocolate,
because it reminds me of Dad being present
it reminds me of Dad being present and connected.
I accept myself
I accept myself
and everything I've connected to the chocolate.
and everything that I've connected to the chocolate.
Even though I've still got this 5 out of 10
Even though I've got this 5 out of 10
desire
to
eat the chocolate. It's really connected with connection.
It's really connected with connection.
Dad was present and connected
Dad was present and connected
when chocolate happened to be around.
when chocolate happened to be around. I think I eat it when I feel unsupported and lonely and sad.
When I feel lonely and sad,
When I feel lonely and sad,
I eat chocolate.
I eat chocolate.
I just want someone to be present and connected
I
with me.
want someone to be present and connected with me.
Dad was present and connected with me when chocolate was around.
Dad was present and connected with me when chocolate was around.
Otherwise he was on his bed reading.
Otherwise he was on his bed reading.
Or he was alcoholic and
Yeah,
it was
alcoholic
bad.
and violent.
I just want, when I want to feel connected
When I want to feel connected
and I want to feel someone present
and I
to
want to
me,
feel someone present to me,
I connect chocolate with it
I connect chocolate with it.
because chocolate was there
Because
when Dad
chocolate
was present.
there when Dad was present.
Releasing and letting go
Releasing and letting go
of the need to have chocolate.
of the need to have chocolate.
It was just an innocent bystander.
It was just an innocent bystander.
I really just wanted the connection with Dad.
I just wanted the connection with Dad.
And I can imagine and feel that
I can imagine and feel that
without having to have chocolate.
without having to have chocolate.
I can bring that into my consciousness.
I can bring that into my consciousness.
I can bring the feelings of it into my body
I can bring the feelings of it into my body
without having to shove chocolate in my mouth.
without having to shove chocolate in my mouth.
Because it's really only sugar and fat.
Because it's really only sugary fat.
It's not someone being present with me.
It's not somebody being present with me.
I can bring that feeling of being connected and present
I can bring that feeling of being connected and present
into me
into me
without eating sugar and fat.
without eating sugar and fat.
And I choose to bring that feeling of connection and presence
I choose to bring that feeling of connection and presence
whenever I want,
whenever I want,
without having to shove sugar and fat in my throat.
without having to shove sugar and fat into my mouth.
Releasing and letting go
Releasing and letting go
of the need to put sugary, fatty chocolate into my mouth.
of the need to put sugary fat chocolate into my mouth or anything else.
I can bring that feeling of connection
I can bring that feeling of connection
and presence
and presence
into my body
into my body
whenever I want.
whenever I want.
I'm in control now,
I'm in control now.
not that piece of sugar and fat.
Not that piece of sugary fat.
So pick it up and smell it.
Actually, pretty early on, I went to, I could just, when you were doing something, I just said tooth. And yeah, it just smells sweet. Not as nice as it did before.
So if you take a bite of it now,
I could.
so take a bite. What is it? Does it bring it up? Does it feel different? Does it taste different to before?
I know before it's like, oh, that tastes so good. Now it's just like, yeah, it tastes like that.
So there's no sort of emotional connection to it. It just tastes like sugary chocolate.
Yeah.
So it's down to about a 2.
Yeah. I don't think I'd rugby tackle anyone for it.
Yeah. So if you could bring in that feeling of love and connection, what colour would that be to bring that in?
Red.
And there's a few sort of already colours. That one?
That is a pink.
It's good.
Yeah. In my head anyway.
So this is actually bliss, so feeling very blissful. So it's a state of bliss, so that you can bring in that state of bliss without having to have chocolate. So breathe that in and just tap here. Bringing that blissful feeling of connection.
Bringing that blissful feeling of connection.
Of someone being present.
Of someone being present.
And loving.
And loving.
Without the need for chocolate.
Without the need for chocolate.
I can bring this feeling into me whenever I want.
I can bring this feeling into me whenever I want.
Just by imagining this
Just by imagining.
red colour. And feeling it in my body.
And feeling it in my body. I just keep remembering I was walking around Coles hunting for the best chocolate cake thing, and my partner phoned me and I lost interest and walked out. So I was able to let go of the hunting. But yeah, as soon as I had him to talk to.
Yeah. So it's more about connection.
I made the connection piece. Connection.
Good. So just looking at it and again, and is it still 2 or is it?
Relegated.
Yeah.